ready. But the Eagles, their overall team play. Should I put my money down for these boys to win the Super Bowl? I remember someone said the Bills were going to get to the Super Bowl, and it sounded like they were Bills happy. I'm like, y'all Bills happy. So, I mean, have the Eagles done enough now to convince y'all to say the Bills are going to lose and recognize that Bills fans might be watching this? So are y'all comfortable saying that? Fred, go ahead.
All right. Real quick, because I didn't look
this
up.
Yeah.
One of you guys, did Minnesota make the playoffs last year? Okay, so they played Minnesota, they played Detroit, and they played the Commanders. Commanders, right? Carson Wentz and the Commanders. None of those teams were playoff threats last year, right? That's who they beat so far. We saw a similar approach how Jalen Hurts is going off. Granted, he's running 15 times a game. When we saw a similar approach, a great hot start with Dallas a few years back when Dak was playing for his contract, right? He bet on himself. After about 4 or 5 games, things went downhill. I'm not saying the Eagles are going to go downhill because their defense is the real deal. I don't think we can deny how good their defense is. And they have a lot of weapons. But the same as I said last week, teams are going to start figuring out Jalen Hurts. I don't care what you say. It's fun to watch him right now. He seems to be a great leader. He has A.J. Brown, he has Dallas Goedert, and he has Devontae Smith, right? There's going to come a time where you cannot rush the ball as a quarterback 20 times, and you have to pass the ball 40 times accurately. The first quarter of last game versus Washington, we saw that with our own eyes, bro. He was not accurate. He was forced to stay in that pocket and pass that pill, and he could not do it accurately. Now, Washington fell apart after that, and they were leaving people wide open. And then if you got A.J. Brown, he literally was just making amazing plays, him and Devontae Smith. I think we're going to see more of that down the stretch. So, to answer your question, no, I don't think come October, November, December, this offense is going to be as dynamic as they are now. I think we'll see Jalen Hurts regress a bit, and in turn, we'll see overall Philly start to lose a little bit more games. They play tougher competition, and there's a little bit more tape out there on what they're able to do with this new weapon that they have in A.J. Brown. So I think there's Green Bay that'll be ahead of them in the NFC. I think naturally Tampa, when it comes playoff time, Tom Brady will be ahead of them. And obviously the former Super Bowl champions Rams will be ahead of them as well. So to answer your question, bro.
So I got to say, and I'll let you guys go real quick, but I think it's a little bit disrespectful how we're going at the Vikings right there when you said the Vikings didn't make the playoffs last year. But right now they're third in the standings. So if we cut the season short right now, they're in the playoffs. Something like that.
I can answer that.
Well, the reason I'm saying is I feel like you're harping on last season, and for me personally, when I look at it, let's say for example, when I'm playing fantasy football, it's not necessarily wise always to bank on what folks did last season. You know what I'm saying? So it might be a different season. So that's why I'm saying personally, this Vikings team, I understand you still got Kirk Cousins. You got a wonderful offensive tandem on that field though. So they got a 3-headed monster on there, and defense ain't trash, I don't think. So I mean,
they lost Anthony Barr.
I mean, do you think they're trash? Where would you rank them?
I just don't think they're a threat. I don't think the Vikings are a threat. And Kirk Cousins doesn't play big in primetime games. Okay. I actually like Kirk Cousins, but he isn't that guy to play big in primetime games. That's all I'm saying. Even them washing up the Packers, I get you. It's not believable.
I'm just trying to say the Eagles, the team that they played, it's not like they've just played scrubs all around. The Commanders aren't as bad as as their record shows. The Lions have actually been surprising. I can't bet no more on the Lions automatically losing. That blows me. I lost 50. So I'm you know what I'm saying? So I'm still kind of tight about that. But Rick, and what y'all think though? Because I feel like you guys are pro Eagles. So
I'm gonna go ahead and say you can.
Eagles will fly. That's what he said. They're gonna soar.
When you look at the NFC, it is wide open, right? Who is someone that you can say is head and shoulders above what the Eagles have put on paper so far? right? And I know, Fred, you mentioned the schedule, and who they played. And I got the schedule up right now. You know, their next opponents, the Jaguars, the Cardinals, the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Texans, the Commanders again, the Colts. You know what I'm saying? That's another, 6-7 games where you got to say now, can they go on a run here to put them in a number one seed kind of position? And when you talk about number one seed, and now you're talking about home games in the playoffs. So home versus away matters in the playoffs, right? Home field advantage matters in the playoffs. Coming up to Philly, we know Philly has one of the toughest crowds to play in front of. I think anybody coming into that environment can struggle at any given Sunday, right? So, I think what they put on paper versus what everybody else has put on paper. Now it's still early. Now we 3 games into the season. There's still a lot that has to be played out. But right now, who else can you say definitively is better than the Eagles right now coming out of the NFC?
And are they getting hot too early? You know how that goes.
That's another thing too. You gotta catch fire at the right time.
The factor.
I mean, confidence goes a long way. If you are playing cupcakes at the beginning of the season, it could make all the difference going forward. Your confidence goes up, and have you making plays that you normally wouldn't make.
Yeah. And what's your take? It sounds like we got an Eagles yes and an Eagles no.
I think Philly's going to have a really good record. I think they're going to be sustainably good. Will I pick them coming out of the NFL? Do I think they will be a legitimate threat? Yes. They have a very soft schedule coming up. They play the Steelers, that's going to be tough. They play the Packers, that's going to be tough. They play the Warriors. You get like the
They play Jacksonville.
Cowboys. Like those
respect Jacksonville.
Don't sleep on it. But you gotta respect Jacksonville because again, you cannot put money that they're gonna automatically
They've been hooping this year.
No more. Trust me, I've already done it. They owe me 50.
I just think Philly is actually that good. Miles Sanders stay healthy. If you look at his yards off the line of scrimmage, he's top tier, right? He's top tier back from that perspective. I'm not speaking from a talent perspective or dominant run game perspective. Miles Sanders puts up numbers. If he stays healthy, that's a threat. Jalen Hurts, who continues to get better and be consistent, have moments. I think Philly will be okay. Again, they don't have a tough schedule, but they do have the genetic makeup to do damage as the season goes on.
Yeah. I gotta say, fellas, their defense looks pretty good. So, I know, Freddie, you were talking about Jalen not being able to sustain that level of success, but this team does kind of give me Panthers vibes when we went 15-1. I can't hold you. Like that defense we had, it backed up Cam because there were some games we shouldn't have won. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I was worried about us maybe we peaking too early, but that defense looks solid. Like Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, them boys just move. And I gotta give a shout out to James Bradbury. He's from my Panthers, so I ain't mad if y'all win on the low, only because Bradbury up there though. Only because Bradbury up there. But that team is solid though. So I'm not saying they're gonna win. But I'm not mad at putting money on them though. Like if I had to throw a quick $20 on $10, I'm not mad. That's money I'd be willing to lose if push comes to shove. So like that it's starting to creep up there for me. Like they creeping up there a little bit for me.